Thank you. Thank you, Kyoko. Are you seeing my screen now? Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, we are going to talk about understanding the circular economy, and it's been a concept that has been moving around in circulation quite a bit recently, especially with national governments pushing for economy that is circular. And what I want to do is quickly take you through some of these ideas and then leave you with the other speakers. What we are right now, where are we right now, is this linear economic system where we extract materials, we manufacture products, we distribute and use them, and then we throw them away. This is a very linear system where there is a lot of wastage, not just at the final stage of the product, but throughout the entire life cycle of a product. If you think of a product in terms of its life cycle, everything is linear. And what the circular economy essentially tells us is that we have to think of every stage of the product's life cycle and then try to understand what are the environmental impacts, what are the social impacts of every stage of the product. And then we try to understand how we can minimize these negative impacts on the environment as a whole, or increase the positive impacts, social impacts on the society as a whole. So the circular economy tries to look at the entire life cycle of a product and understands the process and what are the impacts, etc. What are the resources needed? What are the inputs? What are the outputs? Whether it is pollution, whether it is waste, whether it is emissions, but also in terms of what is needed in natural resources. How can we reduce the natural resources so that recycling can be increased? So it's a very simple and straightforward concept, but of course, in terms of application, quite complicated. So we are here now with this linear model of economic system where it's simply disposing after the use. You don't try to do anything. Slowly, we are moving towards this recycling system of economy where we try to find secondary uses to the products we use. But eventually, we will have to move, or we are moving towards a circular economy where we secure the continual use of resources and extend the lifespan of resources so that our dependence on nature reduces. So that's a very important part. But what is interesting here is how the circular economy brings in environmental issues and social issues into the picture, into the economic picture. So we are not just talking of economy, we are not just talking of profit, which is important, but we also bring in environmental and social issues into the mix so that we have a truly sustainable economy. And that's another way to look at circular economy also, a sustainable or an economy that contributes to sustainable development. And that brings me to the SDGs itself, which, as you're very familiar, is the 17 goals contributing to sustainable development. What is of particular importance for us with the circular economy is sustainable development goal number 8, 9, 11, and 12. I will come to that later on at the conclusions, but there are a lot of these goals, and within the goals, the targets that contribute to a circular economy. And we have to be cognizant of this fact so that we are are linking the SDGs with circular economy itself. So as I was telling you, the circular economy is not something new. It's been there. We have had a many number of different concepts and ideas that have always been there in terms of linking economy with the circular economy, with the environmental issues like green products, cleaner production, better services, etc. So we come to a quick definition of the circular economy. A circular economy is based on the principles of ensuring that production and consumption systems contribute to sustainable development. Economy contributing to sustainable development, including the minimization of waste and pollution, reusing and recycling products and materials, etc. This definition is standard used within the UN and other organizations when it comes to a circular economy. So the circular economy concept itself comes from 3R. We are familiar with the 3Rs, reduce, reuse, recycle. But as the slide shows you, it's more than just 3Rs. There is a whole lot of other concepts already in circulation, already in currency, like sustainable consumption and production, life cycle analysis, etc., that are all amalgamated within this circular economy concept. And that's something that we need to keep in mind: eco-labeling, green procurement, etc. So more than just 3Rs, it's not reduce, reuse, recycle is not enough. We need to go beyond and start rethinking itself, of understanding the economy in a broader sense of sustainable development before we actually move forward. So a number of these strategies also, and these will emerge out of the speakers' presentations: design for environment, preserve and extend the product lifespans, prioritize renewable and reusable resources, use waste as a resource, rethink business models. All these things are some of the strategies that governments, national and local governments, are now using in order to rethink how to set up and activate a circular economy. But ultimately, it's the policies. It's the concept of circular economy is fine, but what do we do with it? How do we actually implement? And one of the things that I've been working on recently is this few nexus, where to really understand circular economy, we have to go through these 4 major resources that we use on a daily basis: food, energy, water, and waste. And where each of these not only help us understand the problems that we are facing right now, but also helps us to focus our attention on where we need to work on when it comes to a circular economy. And food is one of the major sectors, both in terms of food production, but also in terms of food waste. Energy is another major source of action for circular economy, where we strive for efficiency and use more energy, renewable energies. Water, surprisingly, water is a major issues for the circular economy. And of course, waste itself, promoting minimalization in waste generation, etc. Now, what I want to focus on more than anything else is how to operationalize a circular economy. And let me quickly take you through 3 policy patterns. Transforming this circular economy concept to a working level, we need 3 patterns. One is the governance pattern, understanding how policies work from global, national, and local levels. The second is stakeholders. We need governments, we need businesses, we need the civil society to work with us on the stakeholder. And finally, the action itself: governance, education, technology. So these three patterns, when it comes, say, for example, how does circular economy policies change from individual all the way to the global? That's the first policy pattern. The second policy pattern is understanding the stakeholders, who are the people working from the local to global, whether it is the governments, whether it's private sector, civil society. And the third policy patterns of action itself, whether it is laws and regulations we need, whether it is educational systems, or whether it is technologies, GET, GET. And that brings me to GET itself. This is a kind of a matrix, and I want to leave you with this. This is a very important matrix where you try to understand what laws, what educational systems, what technologies we need to operationalize a circular economy at the global level, at the national level, at the local level, and what governments, businesses, and civil society has to do. This matrix will uh, helps us understand and conceptualize the who has to do what. This is a major question I always keep in my mind. Who has to do what at which level? Yeah. So this is the GET matrix I want to share with you, and it will come back again at the conclusions at the final stage.